The DCU has arrived. What's going on, guys? I'm Chris and welcome back to another video. So today I am reviewing the first ever DCU project, as this is a new era for DC, and that project is Creature Commandos. It is a show that is currently streaming on Max. The first 2 episodes are out now, so this review is going to cover my thoughts on those eps, as well as what I kind of hope to see moving forward, and I'll probably come back once all 7 episodes are out and do a my final thoughts sort of video. And I debated on if I should make this video or not, because there was only 2 episodes out, and in total it's under an hour. But because this is a moment in history, the beginning of a new era for DC, I felt like it was fitting to just sit here and do this, because I could look back in 10 years and be like, wow, that really was the start of something special. Potentially the greatest run for DC ever? It wouldn't be hard to do based on the last 10 years. Before I give you my thoughts though, hit that like button, subscribe to that notification bell, and comment your thoughts on Creature Commandos so far down below. All right, so as I always do, I'm gonna start with the pros, and when it comes to Creature Commandos, in classic James Gunn style, he's able to introduce us to a new group of unlikely heroes who have complicated backgrounds, but all come together to form a team with the same mission in mind. Now, there are some connections to the DCEU, which I didn't know how James Gunn was going to handle this, but he makes it pretty evident early on, as in fact this show makes the events of past movies and shows canon. I really didn't think they were going to go there, but they reference them directly, and so in my mind they are now a part of the DCU, and it helps clarify some things for me personally regarding the overall vision of DC moving forward under the James Gunn rule, I guess. And the animation enhances this project. It allows for a lot more creative freedom. Like, there's the ability to do things with action sequences, for example, where 2 characters are fighting and fire's blazing all around and just complete and utter destruction occurs. That would require a massive budget to do in live action form. The same can be said for certain flashbacks where grisly or gruesome images are shown on screen. It'd be a lot harder of a sell if they went the live action route with that in terms of just rating, but also it'd be really messed up. I think the animation allowed for certain sequences, whether that's an action scene or a flashback that gives depth to a character, to be pulled off more so than if it were live action. Like, it was more convincing because it was animated. And I'm happy to say that this group of characters has a lot of depth to them. In fact, it seems like each episode we're going to get more of a backstory for each and every single one of these characters. They're fleshing them out, taking their time, and it's interesting because there are a lot of complex characters here. It's not just cut and dry, this is a good guy, this is a bad guy. There's a lot of gray area here, and it really did remind me of characters from 2021's The Suicide Squad, a movie directed by James Gunn, obviously. But Peacemaker as a character is someone who's really able to exemplify that with the gray area of a character. Moral versus immoral, right versus wrong. Peacemaker's kind of at the forefront there, as he poses as this hero in the public, but deep down, he's got some dark issues and he might not have the best of motives. Well, they make him out to be pretty much a villain in the movie, The Suicide Squad, and then in the show, we get this elaborate backstory and we understand sort of his traumatic background and you feel for him, but also he grows as his own human, and I feel like James Gunn is just in his bag when he's doing that with the character. And there are like 4 or 5 characters in this show already that I can see him doing that with, where they might have a twisted backstory and you can't really read if they're a hero or villain necessarily, but they operate in that gray area, and James Gunn excels with those types of characters. I'm hopeful for what's to come with this group so far. And a staple of James Gunn projects, especially the comic book films, are the soundtracks. And this man is quickly becoming one of the most knowledgeable directors in terms of music, because he never misses with the soundtracks, and oftentimes they're filled with songs I've never even heard of. Now, it's no secret if you know me or if you followed me for any time, I'm not a huge music guy, but I'm not anywhere near as knowledgeable on music as a lot of people in my life that I know. James Gunn is the complete opposite of me. This man seems to know every piece of music from the 70s, 80s, 90s, any decade, you name it, and he's so good at handpicking songs that fit the vibe of an action scene or even a subtle emotional moment. The man was in his bag when he put this soundtrack together, and just like with Peacemaker, we've got another unskippable intro. There's not some creative dance choreography with the cast, but it's still really well animated, and the song choice fits the vibe of the show. And we're only 2 eps in. Both episodes are a little over 20 minutes long, so the show's moving really fast, which I'm fine with, because it still feels like we're getting so much out of the 20+ minute runtime. Like, for me personally, that runtime is just about right for a show like this. In fact, I was texting my buddy, shout out Starcourt Food Court, best mod in the game, and he said it reminds him of some of the animated shows from Cartoon Network back in the day. I'm like, you're damn right, that's actually a really good comp. And of course I have to mention the voice acting performances. A standout to me was Frank Grillo, who voices Rick Flag Sr. They dive into his backstory. It's pretty tragic, as you know, and it may or may not canonize certain events from the Suicide Squad. You just have to watch the show to find out, but I really like him as a lead. He seems to be a morally upright guy, but he also has that inner turmoil and conflict just like everyone else. He's just trying to lead this squad and keep everyone intact, and I feel like he might have a tough job doing that as we move forward because of some outside temptations, but also this is a really wild group of monsters that are assembled. They're not humans, and they put an emphasis on that. These are the Creature Commandos after all, but let me just tell you, they're gonna get into some serious shit. Now, with this being the first project of a new universe, which is crazy to really sit here and think about, it's not without its cons in my opinion. There are a couple of things that bothered me. I'm definitely happy that this show decided to save some moments from the DCU and make them canon, but I am a little concerned about this hand-picking of certain characters or movies or shows as we move forward and look at the big picture of the DCU. Could it become too convoluted or messy? Like say, oh, we're saving Peacemaker, but only part of the Peacemaker show is gonna be canon, and then, nope, we're gonna take Blue Beetle, but no one from the movie just shows Blue Beetle. It could become a little bit confusing to the common moviegoer. It's not like it's a J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson situation. It's a lot bigger than that, and if everything James Gunn did is canon, that's fine. But would that mean the DCU technically began with the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, and this is like the third project? See what I mean? It just gets a little confusing, and we are in unprecedented territory where we're basically witnessing the new era, the new birth of DC. So I'll give them a little grace, but I do worry that it could become too messy. It's almost like, I know you love what you did with Peacemaker and all this stuff, but sometimes you gotta just wipe your hands of it, get a fresh slate, and start anew, and I worry they might try and hold on to too many things from the past. And I will admit, the opening of the first episode jarred me quite a bit. I actually had to rewind. We're getting hit with such an information dump out the gate that I was taken aback. I was like, hold on, let me rewind here. It was like the show had treated the viewers as though we had been watching for 5 seasons and we just picked up in the middle of like a season. I was like, this is a bit jarring. Like there was this assumption that we automatically knew the ins and outs of this world, these characters and their dynamics, and it was a bit confusing. I was like, hold on. Now, I did find its footing. We get introduced to the team not long after that. But it was just hard to get a read on this show for the first few minutes, especially with the character of Amanda Waller. She's been in so many different DC projects over the years, all of which are tonally different, and so I can never really get a read when she's on screen. And seeing the introduction of these characters was awesome, but it does feel like it's pulled directly from the Suicide Squad, so I do fear certain James Gunn projects involving a team could get a little redundant. It's not something that really bothered me all that much. It's just a concern for me moving forward. Could some of these projects start to feel like a rehash or a copy and paste scenario? Again, don't get me wrong, the Suicide Squad rocks. I think it is the crowning achievement of the DCEU, RIP, but I do hope that moving forward we get some variety, stylistically speaking, with these projects. And this last thing isn't really a knock at Creature Commandos, it's more speaking on the overall vision of DC. I really hope this DCU doesn't go the route of the MCU, but more notably the DCEU, with regard to teasing what's to come via visions of the future, specifically like doomsday, end of the world scenarios where major characters are dying. At the very end of the first episode, there's like a what's to come sizzle reel that shows what we're gonna see throughout the rest of the season, and in one of those shots we see the main villain of Creature Commandos hint at what's to come in the future, and we see an image of Superman dead, Peacemaker dead, Starfire from the Teen Titans dead, and I would imagine these are just visions that actually won't come true, and they're just trying to hook us in, and then we see this and boop, that's never actually going to happen. But I really don't want the DCU to go that route of teasing these endgame level events so early on in the universe. Because if you do that prematurely in a universe before a project gets scrapped, let's say, you kind of just get left with random scenes that feel out of place, that set up nothing, and we never have any payoff. Basically, look at the last hour of the Snyder Cut and you'll know what I'm talking about. But through 2 episodes, Creature Commandos is a damn fun time, I can't lie. I'm buying into this group of characters, and I'm excited to see what else James Gunn has up his sleeve creatively speaking here. The show has his signature comic book movie style all over it. The characters are really unique, the action is there, and I'm intrigued. I'll be watching on a week-to-week basis for only a couple more weeks now. This is like a dip your toe in the water and check the temperature type of project for the brand new DC, and I'm thinking I want to go a little further into those waters now. But those are my honest thoughts on Creature Commandos through the first 2 episodes. Again, I'll probably come back and revisit this as we reach the end of this season. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below, and hit that like button, subscribe, and that notification bell. We're officially in a new era of DC, and I'm pretty on board so far, very early on. Thank you as always for watching, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.